For well over a year, we've been working with Zico USA out of Southern California on their Powermatic 2 electric injector. It was a very good machine from the beginning, but after considerable refinement, it is likely the finest, easiest to use injector ever made. The Powermatic 2 comes with an impressive array of very useful tools to help you use this machine to its full potential. First, there is a tobacco debris tray, which we found little need for, as this machine injects very cleanly with nearly no debris after each injection. Next is the really handy bristle bore brush for critical cleaning inside the nozzle and the tobacco chamber. Then a very high quality soft brush that makes overall cleaning and dusting around the nozzle especially very easy. And finally, they included a small metal poker, which is really useful if the machine is ever overfilled and jams. Like any injector, overfilling can cause damage, so just don't do it. However, if it does happen, use this poker after opening the crank to loosen and remove all compacted tobacco that remains in the tobacco chamber, followed with a few passes with the bristle brush. A mini hopper attachment is included with the latest model and doubles or triples the amount of tobacco that can be placed on the machine. The small machine has significant heft and speaks of quality throughout. A really beautiful piece of work. The Powermatic 2 has a robust internal power supply with detachable power cord, the jack for which is on the back of the machine along with the on and off power switch. There is a small exhaust port at the right of the machine, which should be kept clean using the poker and brush as well. It's very easy to clean this small opening, and cleaning it will help the machine to always run at its best. It needs to be inspected frequently, cleaned occasionally. On the bottom of the machine is a ventilation grill for the motor, but can also be used to access any dust that might find its way into the machine. I occasionally use a vacuum cleaner nozzle to cover the grill, turn the vacuum on, and suck out any tobacco dust. The green indicator light tells you the machine is plugged in and on. If the red indicator ever lights, it's informing you of a jam, but the machine will stop automatically anyway. If this happens, turn the machine off immediately, open the crank, and completely clean the tobacco chamber and nozzle using the poker and brushes. Then dry inject using no tobacco a few times to make sure the machine is clean and running smooth. And now the really fun part. Watching a machine of this quality work is really a pleasure. Like I said, this thing is absolutely built like a tank and is beautiful. But the proof is in the pudding, and the proof is in the injection, so watch this. You fill it like any other spoon-driven injector, filling the chamber, tapping it down from side to side a bit. Don't have to be very fussy with it, but always start with less tobacco than you think you need, so it doesn't jam. Now remember to turn the power switch on. You see the little green light lights, and then the machine will work. As you can see, it makes just beautiful sticks, and these sticks are firm right to the end of the filter element and filled to the end of the tube. And it works with any size tube, which we'll show later, including 100 millimeters. But a very firm pack, and the ashes on this thing won't fall off in your lap. This is very solid stuff, like most spoon injectors. You can pack it a little tighter. Tube always slips on good, and if the nozzle has debris around it, just use the brush to clean it. But this is the typical length that I like to see on an injected stick, with a little overhang, 1/8 of an inch, 1/4 of an inch at the most. Then you can tap it down, and as you see, tapping this down really firmly, there's still some overhang. So you know this tube has been filled perfectly, even without tapping down, but some people like a little bit tighter smoke. Works just beautifully. It works just beautifully. And again, you'll get a feel for how much tobacco you need, but always start with a little bit less than you think. Waste a few tubes if necessary so you get the right feel for it, because you don't want to overfill it. You do not want to jam this machine, and if you do, don't try to re-engage the handle. Just open the handle up and clean the tobacco chamber if it ever jams. We recommend cigarette cut tobacco. It will work with pipe tobacco, as most injectors will, the larger cut tobaccos, but frankly we do not recommend the use of that tobacco with this beautiful machine. You spend a little bit of money on this machine, spend a little money on great tobacco. Now we put the hopper on and you'll see the difference. You can hold about 2 or 3 times as much tobacco using the hopper. And the hopper's existence does not make it more difficult to reach. It's not that deep of a hopper, so it makes it difficult to get down in there and pack the tobacco chamber. If you bend a tube like we just did, the strength of this machine and the power of its injection and its quick cycling straightens out any tube. So you really waste no tubes even if you crinkle a few. And again, you can pack it down if you want, but you don't have to. This one we're going to fill pretty full, and you'll see the injector has no problem. And you'll notice that on most injections you see in this video, the crank is pushed down either with just one thumb or one finger. It's very simple even for one-armed bandits. And look at the overhang. And still, when you push, when you squeeze around the filter element, it is tight. Beautiful machine. Now comes the really interesting part we found with this injector that works better than even the crank injectors that advertise use with 100mm tubes. This one really fills them. We picked the zigzag tubes because they're one of our favorites, but Zen makes some great 100mm tubes as well. Again, this machine is so easy to use that we can't imagine anyone having difficulty with it. And here's a zigzag 100mm tube. Zen makes a wonderful 100mm tube, as do a few other manufacturers. You pack it down a little bit more for 100mm. There's a little resistance when you push, but not much. And as you can see, even though the tube didn't fall off, when you pull it off, it's packed right to the very end, and it is very good and tight at the filter element. Now you can pack it down a little bit for those who want to do so. And you can actually fill it even a little fuller than that, so you get a little more overhang. But again, that's a pretty perfect stick for 100mm. The Powermatic 2 from Zico USA. We've not found its equal yet, and we've been looking for a long time. This is a winner.